everyone. Welcome this morning to GMC. Good morning to be. Special series. I am your host this morning, Rhea Richardson-George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. It is beneath the surface. Straight talk, no chaser. And this is day 3 of a 15-part series that takes us through chatting with assemblymen and councillors. In fact, assemblymen, yes, and councillors, as we focus on their accomplishments and achievements and some of their goals as they look forward to a bright future. So for those of you viewing us, you can, share the live, and you can catch us on Amplia channel 102, Digicel channel 33, Flow channels 121 and 130, and online on Facebook and YouTube. Viewers, our guest this morning is Councillor Orlando Kerr, Assistant Secretary for the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development, with responsibility for public utilities and rural development. Mr. Kerr is on our program this morning, and we're going to be chatting about some of the accomplishments, his background in education, his current, some of the challenges he faces within his current location, within settlements, and some of the goals that he has for the future. Orlando, good morning. In fact, Councillor, good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, good morning. It's always a pleasure to be on this program and to interact with the audience, those who are viewing locally and those who are viewing internationally. So it's always a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you. Just before we continue on into things, we want to remind our viewers that you are free to share your comments and your questions on the live Facebook, YouTube. I think we logged on this morning to Facebook. So please share your comments and your questions that we would love to share with Councillor Kerr this morning. Now, I want to get right into things. People hear the name Councillor Orlando Kerr in the village of Delaford. They know Orlando. You're not just Orlando Kerr, but you're Orlando in country. Tell us a little bit about who you are. We know you from the days of being tutor representative and functioning in the Division of Education and now settlements. But who is Orlando Kerr?
Orlando Kerr is a very down-to-earth, simple-minded individual. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I say that I don't have ambition because I take things lightly. I don't always, push for status. I don't always push for certain things. I allow things to come to me. Mm. And that's how I've always been. I've lived in Delaford all my life. As a matter of fact, where my house is now is about 50 meters from where I grew up. So I've been stable in Delaford. I've been a countryman. I intend to remain a countryman. But I think that, I have evolved. I think that I have a lot to contribute to the development of this island. Mm-hmm. And that is why I have chosen to remain, and to offer myself as a prospective candidate for the upcoming THA elections, because I think that Tobago is poised for takeoff. And I think that I have a contribution and, to make to that. So that, I am just allowing things to unfold. At this point, I'm just allowing things to unfold. But I am just a simple-minded individual. I own a small business. I have a family. So I see myself as just a cool, relaxed, laid-back individual who can at times be very forceful if I need to be. But that's a sense of who I am. I love sports. Mm-hmm. I still play Masters football with my club. We leave the island sometimes and we play football in Trinidad and out of the country because I still see myself as 19. Yes. I'm 19. So I still love my football. Mm-hmm. I still love my cricket. I'm the president of All Stars, All Fours Club. So I love All Fours as well. So I'm just that type of person. I love outdoors. I love activities. I love, being involved with people. But my main drive is sports. I love sports.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned the fact that you've decided to throw your hat into the ring, the electoral ring, and we want to start there. What made you decide? Because you've had your stint in not even a stint. You've had a taste of being tutor representative, Tobago representative, etc. But what made you decide to throw your hat into the ring this time around?
Well, I remember when the idea of Tobago East came up, I was approached by quite a few persons. And I think I did do an interview and I said categorically that it was not the right time for me because of my children and the demands of having to go to Trinidad. You know, I really did not want to be away from them at this point in time. I have two boys in particular.
Right, no girls.
No, no girls.
PJ.
And and you know, you would want to be around, especially with boys. So at that time when I was asked by quite a few persons, I really would have liked to, because I really believe in service to Tobago. If you follow my track record, I've always fought for Tobago. Even when I was Tobago officer of tutor, took on the ministry and the Teaching Service Commission with regards to Tobago teachers' issues. So now we have already passed that hurdle and we are looking at our THA elections. And I said that I needed to really think about whether I want to continue in office. Because as it is now, I'm already a part of the THA, right, the Executive Council. And when I thought about it, and of course I also go to my God, because it's important for me to have that feel, that sense that God, this is the direction that God wants me to go into.
Right.
And I had some discussions, of course, with my wife and even my boys.
Right.
And a few close friends and so on. And they said, why not? Because I'm already a part of the Executive Council. And to be quite honest, I think that I have made a valuable contribution so far. And I want to continue doing that. I think Tobago, as I said earlier, is poised for takeoff. And I think that it is instrumental to have certain persons around to continue to push that drive towards Tobago really becoming the greatest little island on the planet. I know that that's a tagline, but I think it's something that motivates. It is something that Tobagonians can look forward to when they say we want to be the greatest little island on the planet. And it is something that we want Tobagonians to embrace. And if every Tobagonian comes on board, we can achieve it. We can't be the greatest little island on the planet. So the fact that we are aspirational in our thoughts and that we are thinking about moving Tobago and really progressing Tobago in that direction, I want to be a part of that. And I think that I have a contribution to make to that. And that is why I would have offered myself, because many persons would have come to me before. Even other political parties would have come to me before. I never thought that I would have been in politics. When I was asked that question many times before, I said, no way I'm going to be a politician. And here I am. Because sometimes you don't see it. Sometimes you don't know that God has a particular path for you. Right? And I reflect on it now. And I had to smile because I was convinced. I have had heated discussions with persons before. And I said, no way, I will never get into politics. And here I am, into politics.
What made you decide to align yourself? Because you indicated that other parties approached as well. What made you decide to align yourself with the TPP?
Well, it was the PDP initially.
And then TPP. To
be quite honest with you, Rhea, I was called by the Chief Secretary. And he literally asked me about my contribution and if I would be willing to contribute in the field of education. And I was shocked. I was surprised.
The current Chief Secretary.
Yes. When at the election in 2021, and I was surprised because I didn't know that I would have been called. It was an ordinary day. I was at home, and I got the call, and immediately, the first answer would have been no. I didn't say no to him, but I thought no. I said, no way, Orlando, you're not going to get yourself into this political thing. But then I started to think about it. I said, okay, I'll think about it. I didn't have much time to think about it, but I started to think about it. And then I have a saying that I like to say, if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Agree.
And I remember advocating so strongly about so many issues in education, in Tobago, so many things that I think we should fix and we should change and how we should go about doing it. And I looked at it as an opportunity to make a contribution, a positive contribution, rather than being on the outside and finding all the issues and you know all the things that are wrong. Go on the inside and try to find solution to those issues. So that was one of the reasons.
So
and then
fight from the inside,
rather
than the outside.
And then it was a in my view, a new body, a new group of people, green, fresh, raw, inexperienced. And I felt that this was an opportunity for us to really do something for Tobago, do something different than what was happening before. Because truth be told, I wasn't pleased with what was happening in Tobago in terms of our governance and all of that, as I said. So I felt that it was an opportunity for me to contribute. And you know, I said, okay, I would accept. So that was, but it wasn't easy for me, even after I accepted. For a while, it took me, you know, a while to really come to terms with the fact that I'm into politics. I remember on the day when we were being installed, I stopped in Studley Park on my way down. And I asked myself, are you really going to do this? Orlando, you're really going to do this? Because even then I was like, are you really going to do this? But at the end of the day, after the installation and all of that, and I looked at my phone, and Rhea, I'm telling you, I responded to almost 100 messages from different persons from all over the world. People who I interacted with on CUT, that's Caribbean Union of Teachers, and people who knew me, and priests. And they were all saying they were so happy that I joined because they believed that I would be one of the persons who can lend some kind of, you know, stability and support and certain kind of values that I could bring to the new team. And that is when I felt a little relaxed. I said, maybe this is your calling. Maybe really God is saying that they need you at this time. So for me, for a little while, you know, it took me, you know, to get used to the term a politician. And then, you know, after we went into office, you remember there were some chaotic moments.
Yes.
With Mr. Duke, with the audio gate. And again, I questioned, I said, why did you get into this? You were quite happy, comfortable, teaching,
living your life,
living my life. And then I got into this. But as I said, in life, there are adversities, and sometimes they make you stronger. And I honestly think that at the time when all those things happened, it actually made us stronger. It made us, it was a rough initiation into governance, but it made us stronger. So that I have a saying that God don't make mistakes.
No.
And I believe that everything happened for a reason, and everything happened at the time it was supposed to happen. And now I think that we are in a better place.
Now, you indicated earlier that you were approached. Again, you were approached by other parties. What made you decide not to go that way?
Well, at the time,
and are you want to share what other parties?
well, I don't know that I want to say that now,
well,
but I think
beneath the surface.
Okay, straight talk, no chaser.
Straight talk, no chaser.
All right, yeah. So I was approached by the PNM. Right. On quite a few occasions. When I demitted office in 2020, actually, they came to my school at Roxburgh Second. I had conversations with two gentlemen, and they were trying to encourage me to get into politics. And at the time, I said to them, I just finished tutor. I just want to relax myself. But to be honest, some of the things that I was hearing and seeing in Tobago, I wasn't comfortable with. And I felt that I couldn't join them at that point in time because, as I said, I wasn't comfortable with some of the things that were happening. And I was also approached by IDA. And that too, I turned down. I decided to turn that down as well. You know? So for me, as I said, I tend to try to listen to God. I'm not professing to be the big, you know, no, but I do have faith when it comes to certain issues. Even now that I've offered myself, I am of the view that God will decide. And, you know, there are persons who might think that I'm not pursuing this as aggressively as I should because other persons are out there on Facebook and whatever. I think that my work speaks for itself. I also believe that no man can stop what is your destiny.
Yeah.
So for me, if it is my destiny, then I will get it. So I allow the process to take place, and then I can be a little bit more out there.
Okay.
But I think for now, I am going to reserve that and allow the internal structures of the party to examine me, examine all the candidates, and make the decision. At the end of the day, as I said, whatever decision is made, I accept, because I understand that life is not always what you want. Sometimes you have to accept disappointments. Sometimes you get the triumphs. But I said that my firm belief is that whatever is for you, people say what is for you is for you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to take a break. But when we come back, one of the questions we're going to ask you now, yes, you've thrown your hat into the electoral ring for the upcoming THA elections against Natisha Charles second. Anne Natasha. Let's get it right. Anne Natasha second and Akel Franklin. But this also means that you will be going up against the current area representative for Roxborough Argyle, which is Assemblyman Duke. So we want to know what you think gives you the edge against them. Viewers, it is Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser. Join us just after this break.
Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together.
Viewers, welcome back to GMT. It is the special series Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser. We're still chatting this morning with Councillor Orlando Kerr. And just before we took the break, the question was asked. Yes, he's thrown his hat into the ring, going up for the THA elections and to represent the Roxborough Argyle community, running against Natasha second and Akel Franklin, but also challenging the current area representative, Assemblyman Watson Duke. What do you believe, Councillor Kerr, gives you the edge against the current representative?
Well, we actually was hoping that you had forgotten that you mentioned that before we went to the break.
No,
I was really hoping that you had forgotten that.
Yeah.
No, I think the distinction must be made that Anne and Akel, that's for the internal screening.
Right.
And if I'm successful, then it will be maybe against Watson if he decides to run again. Let me say from the onset, I think that our district, in terms of our party structure, we have 3 excellent candidates, right? And the screening committee would probably have a very difficult job determining who would go forward.
Right.
But in terms, you have to sell yourself. And I think that I have the edge because of my experience, because of the fact that I'm already a present councillor and assistant secretary with a track record of performance. Additionally, I have been out there, in terms of my experience with other organizations and so on. I live in Delaford. I've always lived in Delaford. I've always lived in the district. I've never moved out of the district. I play football with the guys. I play all fours with the guys. When rain falls on anybody's house, it falls on mine. When there are potholes in the road, I have to drive through the potholes. The lights that I fought for Louisville, I will be going down there to play. So I am a person who is in the community. I am quite familiar with what the needs are of the community. As a matter of fact, my colleagues will tell you, they will swear that I'm already the area rep because I make so much noise for issues that are affecting the community, right? So I think that I'm well poised to be a representative because I'm familiar. I have already started the work because all of the things that are happening now that persons have been asking for was through my advocation. I remember the lights at Louisville. I advocated very strongly for that. The sidewalk for the children to go up to the Anglican school. I did that. We are now looking at the beach facility in Louisville, right? We have the agro-processing facility that is being rebuilt right now. Well, not rebuilt, refurbished right now. Right. So that I am quite familiar with the issues that face the people. We have the fishing facility in Delaford that needs to be refurbished and so all of that. So if you ask me what the needs are for the people in Delaford and Roxborough and Argyle and Betsy Soap, I know because I live there. I interact with persons in the community. I go walking on afternoons through the community. I go down to Betsy's Hope. I mean, so the people are quite familiar with me. And as I said, I believe that I'm a very strong advocate for many things. I'm very passionate about service to people. I'm very passionate about representation. One of the things that has been many persons have been accused of is that they don't answer their phones. I answer my phone. I respond to messages Because as it is now, even though I'm not the area rep, persons come to me for assistance, and I always answer the call. I have been bombarded by many groups and so on in the community for sponsorship and so on, and I answer the call. So I think that even given that we have good persons who are vying for the position, I think that especially because I am there, I live there, I have been there for all my life, and given my experience in public service and advocating on behalf of persons and so on, because you know that's what I did in tutor, right? I think that I'm the best person. But additionally to that, I think that we have to look at governance going forward. And I think that I have a contribution to make to governance going forward as well. Okay. I know that we are at the position where we are talking about our autonomy. We are talking about different things that will move Tobago forward. And I think that I have a contribution to make to outside of my community, the island of Tobago. So I think that I, at this point, will be, in my view, the better person for the job.
All right. Well, we have a question coming in here from the live, and I would swear this viewer probably took a peep at my notes, but I will share this question from the viewer, and this is a question coming in from Newton George. If you are successful as a candidate, what are two of the important things you would want to do for the community?
One of the most important things, in my view, Rhea, is training for the young people. Rhea, it hurts me when I see so many of our young folk are sitting on the block for the entire day. They approach you for a job. They want a job. What is your skill set? They have absolutely no skill set. I think that we are losing a generation, and I think that we really need to try to reach out to our youths. I don't have the answers, because I know that sometimes training is offered and they do not respond. But I think we need to find a way to get our youths engaged in positive activities. That is one of the reasons why I fought for the lights at Loido, because I know that sport is a way out for many youths. But I also think that we need to offer training. And the training may not have to be always formal, because sometimes they feel a little threatened when they feel it's a classroom setting and all of that. But I'm saying that that is one of my main goals, to really, the youths in that area, to see how we can positively impact on them, how we can get many of them to learn a little skill. I often say, especially air conditioning. In Tobago, we have, so many opportunities outside of air conditioning, but air conditioning is an area where you always find that you have to wait on the technician to come, because we don't have enough. And I'm saying that, these are some of the areas, air conditioning and masonry and so on, because many of the projects that we undertake, sometimes we have to get these people coming from outside of Tobago. So when the cry is that there isn't jobs in Tobago, there are jobs, but almost 95% of the person who come to you, they want the early morning walk. They want a walk to go and cut some bush for half an hour and go back home. And so that my concern is the youths. That's one of my main concerns, right? The other concern that I would probably take off my head is, and there's something that I really want us to do in Roxborough, is that transport hub that we have been talking about that centralization, where we can have transition from maybe the larger buses in PTSE to the smaller buses to go to Lansome and Charlottesville and so on. I think that that is going to be something that will bring a certain amount of commerce to Roxborough and environs. So I think that that is, if I'm going to look at the top two, because all the other things, I know that we have the fire station, the hospital, the police station and all those things, but I think that Roxborough as an area really needs that transport hub to sort of link it to the rest of the island, so that when you are transiting from Scarborough, you may not necessarily transit straight to Charlottesville. There may be that networking of the transportation service. So those are two of the things I can think off my head that I would want to do. The other things are, we have some issues with lighting and so on of the plain area outside of St. Grey. Those are just maintenance issues. Right. But I'm talking about issues that you really want to see and put on the front burner.
To make a difference.
To make a difference. And I think that especially the training of the young people here, maybe because I came from an education background, I think it's something that we must do. And not only in Roxborough and Argyle and in my district, I think it's something that we have to look at as an executive council. Okay. Because we cannot sustain this island by giving people early morning employment.
Granted.
Yeah.
Granted. Now, your current, let's talk a little bit now about your current, in fact, before we get to the current, we've got to talk a little bit about, your stint in the Division of Education in DUTEC. Let us talk a little bit about that. What were some of the takeaways? Because it was a very short time until you were
Yes.
relocated.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the things that you discovered. Again, you came from a background of no politics.
Yes.
Feet wet into politics. What were some of the challenges or accomplishments within that time in DUTEC?
Well, I think we were able to do, when I worked with Secretary Hackett,
Yes.
we were able to do a lot in a short space of time. And I think that, not just to generalize, I think that Tobago needs to understand that a lot has happened in the last 4 years. I know that many persons are saying that, well, I didn't see this and I didn't see that and I didn't see that. And governance really, one term in governance is really no time. But we were able to accomplish a lot. I could talk to the fact that when we came into office, ECC teachers were without contract. Every single ECC teacher has a contract now and they're comfortable, right? We inherited a huge debt in increments and gratuities for teachers, and we were able to pay. I remember when I left education, the allocation for that was, I think, was $8 million. We were able to pay about $25 million in increments and arrears and so on for teachers. We started to look at the establishments because we have a large number of contract teachers on the island, and we know the disadvantages that go with contract employment, and that is what we inherited as well, right? And we started, at the time we were working on that, we had engaged the Teaching Service Commission. And what I said to the commission at the time is that we needed to look at this as a special project because of the process of appointing teachers. It is a bit tedious. And there were some things that needed to be done, interviews and other things. And normally the interviews are scheduled based on the area of specialization. But what I was asking the commission to do, because there were so many persons and we wanted to do it in a quick time, let us look at Tobago as a special project in terms of having those teachers appointed and out from under the contract system, so that we were able to do that. When I came on board, there were many issues with the maxi taxi driver, the maxi taxi operators. And we were able to, well, we are almost there. Sometimes these things take a little time because there's always the little fine print that you have to go over and so on. But I think that they're in a better place, right? Because we are looking at regularizing them in terms of giving them contracts and so on and all of that. So there were many, many, many wins when I was at the division, and the division continues to work on these things because I still hear what is happening at the division.
Right.
Sometimes, as I said, things are not happening as fast as people would like, but sometimes it is not really in your control because there are other external agencies that have some part to play in that, and you have to work with them to get the thing accomplished.
But some would say it is members of one party. One would have thought that things may have run smoother.
No, but I was talking about, like, in terms of the appointment of the teachers, like the Teaching Service Commission and maybe the Ministry of Education, and sometimes it may even involve the CPU and all of that. So I'm talking about those external bodies,
right? Because
even within, as a politician, you set policy, right? And as the chief was at pains to explain the other day, you may want to, let's say, purchase a camera or some other kind of equipment. That is left up to the officers of the division. That is left up to the procurement unit. So you can't just simply go and say, well, listen, I'm buying this camera.
Right.
You want to buy it next week. But sometimes it takes a little longer because of the process involved. And I often say to people that government service do work fast. It is something that we would want to work on. But the reality is that a lot of these systems are bureaucratic in nature. And that causes the delay when you have all this bureaucracy. So that it is something that we would want to.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what's happening there. Go ahead.
Yeah, but this is something that we would want to work on as a THA because we have spoken about productivity across the island, and it is
a little bit of a distraction.
Yes,
there.
It is a concern for us because what we have done in our time, and we are looking at digitization and all of that. What we have done in our time is to try to find ways to make the lives of Tobagonians easier. As you are aware, in health, for example, persons can access some of the social grants and so on online, and this is in an attempt to try to streamline things and make things move much faster. because we have inherited a system where something that might be simple has to go through 3, 4, 5 persons before it gets approved. And sometimes when you look at it, there is really no need.
Right.
You know, so we have been looking back at the systems and we are saying that we want to streamline things so that things can move faster. But as I said, it has only been 4 years. It may seem to be a long time, but in governance, 4 years is really a short time.
All right. Now, your current division as Assistant Secretary within the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development, it touches people's daily lives directly, housing, water, infrastructure, that sort of thing. What realities have you discovered since taking office? I mean, we look at things from the outside. What do you know now that you did not know then?
Well, just what I explained, you know, like even within the areas that I am responsible for now, I would normally meet with the various public utilities, WASA, TNTEC, TSTT, Digicel, and for the most part, what I'm very heartened about is that all the senior level officials that attend those meetings, we are all on the same page. We are saying that we want to improve on the services for the persons, for the people living in Tobago. So that is good. You have persons who whose aspirations are to really make Tobagoans' lives comfortable and get water and get, you know, proper internet and proper electricity and so on. The harsh reality, however, sometimes there are issues that because of the resources, you may not be able to deal with it in the manner and as quickly as you would like. We know that there have been a water challenge in Tobago.
Yes.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the previous government spent how many millions they said, and they had pipes, which we were not a part of, in the sense that we were not invited to the table to give a contribution. I want to say that because that is how it was. We were not consulted. But let you have persons on that end of the island where you just spent how many millions without consulting the THE, crying out for water. But we have had some very fruitful meetings with the present administration and the present executive of WASA, and we have some plans afoot that will soon alleviate a lot of the challenges. It may not, as I said, come as quickly as we would like, but there are some things that are already in train. For example, there's a plant that goes Row, and there are plans to do a desal plant at Charlottesville and so on, and things are moving at pace. But you know, it's not going to be next week or next month, right? But I think the difference now, Rhea, and I want to say this on here, because I think that politics is a funny thing. And politics, a lot of people try to give impressions and sway the people outside because they don't think that the people have the information. So they try to make it seem as though, you know, but the reality is that we did not have cooperation before. We did not have it. They try to project, like at times, that they wanted to cooperate with you, but in reality it wasn't happening because there is such a difference now interacting with these new ministers in terms of how they treat with you, how they consult with you, how we actually sit and discuss what we are going to do. What we are going to do in Tobago.
Tobago now has a seat at the table.
Exactly. It is so different now. And as I said, this is not politics talk. This is reality. You are actually given an opportunity to be heard. You are actually be given an opportunity to prefer a solution to the problem, right? And that was not happening before we are.
Okay.
Right? So to say, all of that to say that Tobago is in a better place. It is in a better place. And I hope that Tobagoans, regardless of your political alignment, understand that, because that is the reality. Tobago is in a better place because we have persons now who are not looking down to you, who are not talking down to you, who don't believe that, you know, I just entertaining you really, but I'm not on you kind of scene, like with the same Tobago. You don't get that. You get the feeling that you are respected. We had a meeting yesterday with the Prime Minister and the ministers who were in Tobago and Rhea. That meeting was an eye-opener for me. And if I had any doubts about continuing in politics, I was convinced yesterday because of the tone of the meeting, because of the mutual respect of the Prime Minister and the ministers. You felt as though you had you're really in governance in Tobago, that you really have a say in what happening in Tobago, and that was not happening before.
All right. But we're going to take another break here. But when we come back, and we're going to be wrapping things up within the next segment or so. But we want to have an idea of when you are, if you are to grade yourself, grade your performance. And this is performance from within DUTEC as Assistant Secretary under DUTEC and your current position. So we want you to grade yourself A to F in terms of your performance. All right, and you're going to share with us some of your goals for the future should you be successful in the upcoming election. So viewers, stay tuned. Remember, this is Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser. Join us after the break.
We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special in 1,000 people.
Viewers, welcome back to Beneath the Surface on GMT. Straight talk, no chaser. Still chatting this morning with Councillor Orlando Kerr. Now, Councillor Kerr, just before we took the break, question was asked. If you were to grade yourself, and this is Councillor Kerr, Assistant Secretary for DUTEC, and Councillor Kerr, Assistant Secretary for the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development. What grade would you give yourself? I mean, we understand here one term is not enough to do, but you've done some work. How would you grade yourself? A to F, A being the highest.
We are,
And why?
yeah. I don't like to grade myself, right?
True.
But I will try.
Yes.
I think I will give myself a B.
A B.
Because I think that there is room for a lot of improvement, but I think that a lot was done as well, given the constraints that you would normally experience and so on. I think that the first term would always be the most challenging term because you are inexperienced. You have to understand the system. You have to understand the working of the system. So that I think that we can only go up from there. So I think that it will get better, right? But I would say a B because I think there were many things that we have fixed. Some small, some big, some the public is not aware of, because that was just the nature of what we had to do. So I would give myself a B.
Okay,
Yeah.
a B.
Yeah.
All right. Now, should you be successful in the upcoming elections, you would not just, you're looking at vying for the area, yes, but then when you are installed, you will be a representative for Tobago. What do you see as Tobago's three most urgent issues or problems that require some realistic solutions?
Okay, but I think top on the agenda for me is autonomy. I think that if we are able to get autonomy, many things that, again, because of bureaucracy, we can fix and fix quickly. We can treat with right here in Tobago. Because the reality is that what is priority for you may not be priority for the National Parliament. And therefore, I think our autonomy is crucial and critical in us really moving Tobago quickly in the direction that we want it to go, right? So the autonomy issue is one. Personally, for me, I think that we need to address productivity. I think that the THA is the largest employer on the island, and we do not get the commensurate productivity for the salaries that we pay. Yes, I'm Tobagonian. Yes, I understand our culture. And I may not be making the best political statement at this time, but it is the reality we are. We need to, if we are to realize the greatest little island on the planet, it is not about the chief secretary or the secretaries or even the administrator. It is about all of us chipping in and doing our little part. And it bothers me a bit when we as Tobagonian, the rank and file Tobagonian, we are not chipping in. We're going to work and we're not doing anything, right? We simply giving the most trouble to do the simplest task. And it is difficult. It is very difficult. And secretaries can tell you, we get calls sometimes to treat with issues that we should not even be aware of, because there are layers of accountability. For example, foremen and supervisors that are supposed to treat with that. But guess what? When the public feels the pain, they reach out to us. At our level, where we're supposed to be focusing on policy, we have to focus on somebody not doing their job. Somebody didn't clear the road or so. And I'm saying that we have to get past that. We have to understand pride in our island, and whenever we are called to duty, we must perform. So that's two. Thirdly, for me, for Tobago, we have to look at our infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, I'm not just talking about roads alone. I'm talking about our infrastructure across the island, right? I think that we are poised, or size simply can give us the opportunity that we can be, in terms of our infrastructure, ahead of everyone else, ahead of the country. So outside of our roads and all those things, our general infrastructure, all our and I heard this statement being made by the opposition. You know, I'm a politician, so I mentioned that about that we're not building anything, we just fixing. And you know, it's unfortunate that some people are just about deception. Because if you have facilities on the island, are you going to allow, well, we met them in a dilapidated state, many of them. Are we going to simply leave them? We have to refurbish them. We have to fix them. That is a part of governance. Fixing things that are already existing is a part of governance. So is it that we're going to build new ones every time something dilapidates? So when they come with these arguments, and I want to say this to Tobago, just give me 2 seconds. Mind your business in that. Don't allow people to come and just talk. As a former principal, you say nonsense talk in your head. Think about what they're saying and see if it makes sense. Because when you hear people saying they're building nothing, they're refurbishing, who are we refurbishing it for? It's for the population. Why do we have to refurbish it? Because it was in a dilapidated condition. Look at what is happening with the bus sheds now. You know that I am the person who is responsible for doing the bus shed project, right? We have our corporate persons on board and so on. Why do we have to do it? Because 99% of them were in a state of disrepair. So should we leave them and build new ones? We have built some for strategic reasons. Those at Bishop's and at Signal Hill because of the size of the school population and so on. But we have also pioneered this program where we have corporate Tobago refurbishing a lot of them and so on. So the argument that we are just refurbishing, we ain't building nothing, and that is not even true, really does not make sense. So infrastructure here, right? Because I am one of the persons who's very passionate about our indoor facility. I am saying that a child who has been born in Tobago should have the same opportunity as a child who's born anywhere else in the country, in Trinidad. And when our children in Tobago, when we came into office, we were the ones who took out the indoor court that they had in Shore Park for 7 years, dusted it off and had our children playing on it, because our children had to be given those opportunities. And these are the things that we are talking about. There are many things that people are saying that they have not seen on the island. But I like to look at the cup half full and not half empty. Maybe I'm an eternal optimist. But I'm saying that there are so many things that have been transformed. And it has happened so quickly and so seamlessly that people forget. Because that Shore Park complex, that was a ghost town. Shore Park complex now is vibrant. Our children are given the opportunities to play indoors. Never before it happened. And that floor was bought by them 7 years ago, and they put it to take dust. So why did you buy it? You bought it for the children of Tobago to have an opportunity. No, you did not do that.
So what was the hindrance? What was the keeper?
Well, that is a question that you need to ask them.
Okay.
I have my thoughts about it, because I'm saying that whatever we do, it should be to the benefit of our citizens here in Tobago. So that I am very passionate about us getting a proper indoor facility. I think that it is something that we really need, so that our children here can have the kind of experiences that other children across the country are having. So that for me, so those are the 3 things that I will find, I think that are most important. You know, our autonomy, our productivity, because that will move the island forward, and our infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, as I said, I'm not only talking about roads and bridges and those things. I'm talking about generally across the island, or schools, or pavilions, or fields, everything. I think that those are the things that are most important. Once we have those things, we can build policy around them, and we can, you know, really transform the island. Yeah.
All right. Very quickly here, when you remove the policies and the public titles, what keeps you grounded as a person? Or should I say who?
I have a belief that, you know, let us say, I'm trying to put it nicely because I don't offend anybody. I don't think that being educated or being in a particular office makes you better than anybody. I think that I believe in the theory of multiple intelligences. I believe that the fisherman has an intelligence that I don't have. You put me out in the sea, I turn stupid, right? I may be educated, but that's a different level of intelligence. I had a conversation with a young lady recently, and I'm not sure if she has any O levels or A levels, but I was awed because the way how the ideas that I got, I said, this is a very intelligent young lady. And I didn't get the impression that she was working in any government office or anything like that. So sometimes I think that a lot of people judge themselves by their education, their accomplishments in life, and so on. I don't. I see everybody as equal. I like, well, you know me, you're my neighbor. You know when I'm at home, how I am. I don't believe in, yes, there are offices and you must respect somebody's office and all of that. But I think that you need to come down to ground to everybody and talk to everybody and have respect.
Yes.
Off here, we were talking about respect, and I said that I am a firm believer that respect is horizontal and not vertical. And not because you might be a secretary, assistant secretary, it means that you could talk down to somebody, and vice versa, because I would not allow myself to be disrespected. But I think that I remain grounded because I value what people can bring to the table, right? And I respect everybody because everybody has a contribution. They may not contribute in the same way, but everybody has a contribution and everybody has an intelligence. It may not be academic, but I think our society looks at academics and academics merely if you have a doctorate, well, oh gosh. And I'm not saying, and again, I don't want to offend anybody. Not that something is wrong with a doctorate, but I'm also saying that recognize the guy who could, there are guys who are able to build houses that are self-taught. They never went anywhere.
And we need them.
Right, they never went anywhere. And they can do things that we can't do. And that's what I'm saying, that we need to recognize everybody's intelligence. So for me, everybody is equal. It then I know who up there and who down there. And so I have always, remained grounded because I respect everybody. And I demand respect from people as well.
Okay. All right. Now, Evans Tobago looks forward to the upcoming 2025 elections, or 2026, the upcoming elections. What message of hope do you believe you want to leave with the people of Tobago as you aspire to represent?
When we started this interview, I'm not sure if I said it on air, but I am a person who firmly believe in speaking from the heart. I don't believe in telling people they want to hear. I like to tell people how I feel. And if you ask my colleagues, they will tell you that. Right? No disrespect, but I will tell you how I really feel about things. And I honestly, even divorcing myself from the politics, I think that Tobago has an opportunity that we cannot allow to let pass. I mentioned earlier about the collaboration, the whole 360 in attitude of the government. Persons may say it is politically motivated. However, we get in it, attacking it. Right? In other words, whether or not I don't gonna subscribe to people saying, well, they're just doing it because they want to win the election. Whatever benefits the people of Tobago is what I am willing to accept. So I think that Tobago is in a position right now where in the next election, they need to make the right decision. It is so important for me to see that people are not voting along party lines. Now, truth be told, I've had a lot of persons who have come up to me who have said to me, I'm a PNM, and I respect that. I have good friends who are PNM. And some of them have said to me, but we're giving all your next chance. Because in their heart and in their mind, they realize that the transformation has begun. And they, at the end of the day, they want to see what is best for Tobago. We got an import license yesterday in 6 months. And I don't know if Tobagonians understand the significance of what happened yesterday, We were trying to get that import license so that we could export materials from Studley Park and gain revenue for Tobago and much needed foreign exchange. And that was simply being blocked for years. And we got it in 6 months yesterday. So are you going to go with somebody who telling you they love you, but they're not demonstrating that? They're not showing you they love you. They're telling you they love you, but they're doing nothing for you. And you have a regime now, at least for now. And I want to say as well, if things are happening that we don't believe it's to the benefit of Tobago, we are going to speak out. And the chief said it yesterday. So it's not that we're going to agree with everything, but we are not going to fight for fighting's sake either. And we are seeing a willingness to work with us, to assist us in terms of bringing relief to the people of Tobago. Should we, as a people, not as political party or I'm a PNM or I'm a TPP, should we as people lose that opportunity? That is what we should ask ourselves, right? Because there are persons who will come and try to paint a picture and tell you all kind of thing. All kind of things that are happening. And as I said earlier, I like to look at the cup half full. And let us be real. It's about demonstration of your intention. Because there was no demonstration before. This issue about that export license. We beg, we plead, we bring it in the public space. Are we boy in a giveaway? In a giveaway. That is the reality. So yes, we can say that we are Tobagonian and is with Tobagonian boy. And I have no challenges with that. But what did we get for that? What did we get? We have somebody now who gave us in 6 months. So now Tobago is well poised to earn some foreign exchange and revenue from spell, which will be down to the benefit of the people of Tobago. So as a Tobagonian, whether you're PNM, your PDP, your TPP, your whatever, you are seeing movement in the right direction for you and your children and your family in Tobago. And you are going to simply hold on and say, well, me are this. It can't be. And I think that most right-thinking Tobagonians, regardless of their political affiliation, are seeing what is happening. And based on that, Rhea, I am convinced that we will be given a second term.
All right. Let me ask you here. If you are successful and you have the opportunity of selecting your position, selecting that division or that position to lead over, what area would you like to function in?
That's a toughie.
If the chief says, Councillor Kerr, you have a chance to select. Where do you want education? What do you want finance? Where do you want settlements? Where do you want to function?
That's a toughie for me. In that, I think I can function anyway, to be honest. Because I went to settlements, and well, you're seeing what is happening in settlements in terms, because we have some washrooms that we are doing up at the lookout in Speyside and at Mount Dillon, and so we're doing things that people have been asking for. That those are under my remit, so I can function anyway. But I will be most comfortable in education, most comfortable, because it is something I know like the back of my hand. Like I was able to explain to you some of the nuances of having the contract teachers appointed and so on. It's what I know without even thinking, because I've been in it so long. But education is headache, because a huge division, and there are many problems in education, many issues. But it is where I would be most comfortable, because as I said, but I can function anyway, because as I said, this is Tobago, and if you know what the issues are, you will be able to treat with them. And I think that our administration has shown that we are about the people.
Okay.
We are about the people. And, it's just that time does not permit. Because I could speak to accomplishments in every single division that people did not even, they just take it for granted. I was talking to a gentleman the other day in Dallaford, and I was telling him, I said, simply Roxborough Hospital is open 24 hours now. And people don't understand the work that Dr. Faith had to put in to get a hospital running for 24 hours. Give the PNM credit for building a building. I'm going to give them credit. But that is all that happened. It was just a building. Downstairs was, I think, they were health center downstairs, and they were doing some clinics. And that was it. And this administration built out a hospital so that now if I'm in Dallaford and I feel a little pain, I could run down the road. Right? Okay. People don't understand these things. They hear, well, the hospital was there, and they don't understand the amount of work that went into it. The amount of resources, I'm talking about financial and otherwise, that had to go into it. And there are many things that has happened, as I said, some small, some big, that people are not even aware of. Because what we do, I think one of the things that we have not done well is publicize what we do. We have not been doing that because we have been concentrating on doing the work. But we have done so much in 4 years.
Okay. So promotion is a big thing.
Yes.
Okay. All right, but we're going to leave it there. We want to thank you so much for joining us. Any closing comments before we wrap things up?
Well, yeah, it's just that it is always nice to come on air. And I like to talk to my Tobagonian brothers and sisters because outside of the politics, I have a passion for Tobago. I have always fought for Tobago. I always am of the view that Tobago people should never be second-class citizens. And anything that is afforded to anybody else in the country, once you're living in Tobago, you should be afforded that opportunity too. So what I can say to Tobago is that I can give the commitment that I, Orlando Kerr, will continue to represent the people of Tobago without fear nor favor, malice or ill will, and I am committed to putting Tobago first and really pushing for that kind of development that we want on the island.
Okay. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us for this special series, Beneath the Surface, Straight Talk, No Chaser. We were just chatting with Councillor Orlando Kerr, and you can stay tuned for the rest of the week from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. For more Beneath the Surface, Straight Talk, No Chaser. I want to thank you for joining us. Have a really great day, and we will see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye, Tobago.
People strong.